All right, today we're talking about anterior, posterior forces. Those are the forces the feet apply to the ground towards the ball and away from the ball. That lead foot pushing towards the ball, that trail foot pulling away from the ball in the downswing. Let's dive in and suck a little bit less. We've got two different swings here, and we're looking at what we're doing to the ground. Now, there's three ways to push into the ground. You can push vertically, you can push laterally, and you can push towards and away from the ball, which is what we're looking at today. Primarily that lead foot pushing towards the ball. If there's one thing to understand from this video, the lead foot needs to push towards the ball probably earlier than you think and harder than you think. So what's really cool about this Smart 2 Move software is it's like looking under the hood of a car. You can't see these forces. The naked eye can't see how you're pushing. We can see what the body is doing, but it's really cool to understand the timing, the magnitude of force, if you are a golf nerd, of course, and what it does to the body, what it does to the swing, and all that cool stuff. So what are we looking at here? We've got a graph, we've got some wild looking things, way simpler than they would appear. We've got the golf swing in the upper left-hand corner. In the upper right-hand corner here, we've got some arrows. The arrows are the ground reaction force. So the trail foot is in red, the lead foot is in blue. The combination of the 2 feet is in yellow. And we can look at these arrows from any view. As I toggle through the swing, you're gonna see the arrows change. Really, really cool. You can look at it from any view. We are primarily concerned about what's happening from the down the line view. We want those arrows to be angled. We don't want them just up and down. Now, if I go back to my address position here, you can see the arrows are already moving because I weigh them out. So just because I weigh something, the ground is pushing back in an equal and opposite direction. On the bottom here, we've got some squiggly lines. So when those dots reach the peak of those lines, that is when I'm pushing the hardest. How hard am I pushing? If you look over to the right, lead trail tells us how hard we're pushing. It's measured in percentage of body weight. So you can see here, at around lead arm parallel, that lead foot is pushing towards the ball around 9.2% of my body weight. Shortly after, if you look at that red peak, that is when the trail foot is pushing away from the ball. Now, in a perfect world, we want that lead foot pushing 1.5 to 2 times harder than the trail foot pushes away from the ball. In this particular swing, because I'm not trying to do anything with the ground, I'm literally just trying to swing with my arms around the body. Both feet are pushing around the same force, right around 10% of my body weight, which isn't very much. In the swing after this, you'll see I'm pushing much harder, and you'll see a much different reaction from the pelvis, much more rotation. But for the purpose here of this bad golf swing, you can see at impact here, I've pushed a little late, not very much, and because of that, I'm pretty much just standing straight up and down with no pelvic rotation. At impact, the arms are pretty much straight. I hit the top of the ball, garbage golf shot, which is the point of this swing. So next, we are going to look at a better golf swing, although not a great golf swing. Plenty wrong with this one too, but I'm pushing harder and we're gonna see more pelvis rotation. So right off the bat, we'll get into our good view here. I am maxing out even before lead arm parallel. So you can see the peak of that blue line right around lead arm parallel, a little bit before lead arm parallel, 20% of my body weight. And then you can see that blue arrow is angled a little bit more horizontally than that first swing. So it's happening way earlier than I think a lot of golfers think. And then the magnitude of force, it's hard to know what pushing hard is without actually getting feedback. But I can say here, I'm really trying to push hard towards that golf ball. The effort is a lot harder than you probably think. Again, it's hard to do. Pushing towards the ball is hard to do without falling over. That's why so many golfers struggle with rotation, because it is a hard thing to do. You can see here, I'm maxing out the trail foot push away from the ball around lead arm parallel, and you can see the angle of these arrows, right? So I am not just pushing vertically, I am pushing down and towards the ball. I could even do it better. At impact here, if we fast forward, we are gonna see a lot more pelvis rotation. That lead hip is turned the corner. I've got a little bit more right arm bend, a little bit more side bend as well in that classic kind of impact position. If you were to be able to see speed here, if I was on TrackMan, you would see much higher club head speed as well. So that is really, I don't need to waste any more of your time here. Push harder with the lead foot towards the ball, and that lead hip will move out of the way, and you'll have a lot more pelvis rotation. Really simple. The next two videos are going to be on the vertical forces and the lateral forces, the timing of those as well, which is super cool to look at. So hopefully you learned something from this. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.